On Second Thought, episode 337, brought to you by Hook'em.com, our good friends at Bud Light. Said Golden here with Taylor's favorite Duck, Kirk Bowles, and Duck, the Texas softball team, has turned in a banner season up to this point, a Big 12 regular season title, number one ranking, the number one overall seed in the upcoming NCAA tournament. They open up Friday against the Siena Saints, 3 o'clock at McCombs Field. Northwestern and St. Francis will follow after that. Head coach Mike White is busy plotting the program's first natty, but he's not busy enough to join us today. We appreciate it, Mike. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Obviously, had a great day of practice. Starting to warm up a little bit outside, and I wish we'd had a week more to acclimatize to it, but it is going to be warm this week.
Is it going to be too warm for some of your visitors, perhaps?
Well, we're hoping that we can turn the heat up just a little bit, but I remember coming down here in 2012 and thinking I was going to melt. So
That's a
Definitely
real,
possible.
Mike, that's a real thing. I mean, when I was covering baseball one year, and I think they played, I want to say it was Bucknell and some TV guys were at the airport. Bucknell got off the plane, and half those guys wanted to get back on the plane and get back to Bucknell. Um, do you guys even talk about the heat? You're used to playing in this stuff, but do you even talk about the fact that you're used to it and these visiting teams aren't?
Well, not really. I mean, obviously we know it could be to our advantage, but it hasn't really been that hot here yet.
Mhm.
In just a couple of days. But we do know what to expect. We know that we need to, make sure the body stays dry, the hands stay dry for the pitches, and you drink a lot of water, hydrate well before the season, the weekend starts, and so we're in the process of doing that as well. But we're hoping that it does work to our advantage.
Well, Mike, congratulations on not only winning the Big 12 in the final Big 12 season, capturing the number one seed in school history. You can't enjoy it very much, obviously, but I guess you take a lot of satisfaction and even more than that, a lot of confidence, from getting that designation, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we were named number one about 5 weeks ago, and we had it for a week. And I said that we rented it instead of owned it. So, we promptly lost straight away. But I think we got a little more comfortable with it. We had to close out the last 12 to 15 games of the regular season to be able to win the championship, and I thought we handled that pretty well. We didn't handle Saturday night very well against Oklahoma. They were better than us on the night, and we made too many mistakes. But again, it's what you learn from that experience, and I'm hoping we learn a lot. So it is, I think the team has played very well this year. They deserve the number one ranking. I'm happy for the ladies, and it's definitely an honor. And, we're excited to get out there and try to hold on to it.
I want to talk about Reese Atwood, the finalist for Player of the Year, the first since Blair Luna in 2013. Leads the country in ribbies, 22 homers, fifth in the nation, top five in many categories. And she's doing it at catcher. I mean, that isn't exactly a picnic of a position. And how's she been able to keep this offensive barrage going while also having the responsibility of playing the most important position on defense? And it should be mentioned she has not missed a game this season.
No, that's true. I mean, obviously, we don't want to keep her out of the lineup, and she's been pretty consistent throughout the year. Had some power numbers dry up a little bit in the middle where I think she was trying to do too much, and you start to kind of press a little bit. But what's helped us there is the ability to have Katie Stewart and Katie Simmons spell her a little bit at catcher, and then we put her at DP as well. So just some ability to kind of give her the rest, even though she is probably our number one catcher at this point. But we feel confident in anyone we put back there. So that's been a big help to us this year.
I mean, you got such a complete lineup. You guys, lead the nation in team batting average, I think at 383 with, Ashton Maloney and Mia Scott. You mentioned Atwood. I, that gives you some comfort, I imagine. You can start rallies, anywhere through your lineup.
That's exactly right. And, we've, toyed with the lineup a little bit, and I think we've kind of got it cemented right now. With Maloney at the leadoff, she's doing a great spot there. But having Bella Dayton at the bottom, really helps turns things over, and you get back into the speed, with Mia Scott back there as well. And Vivian Martinez is not slow, and she's picked her game up as well. I think that's another thing that most people haven't really picked up on is how well she's been hitting in the second half of the season, along with Katie Stewart, which has kind of helped Reese as well. I think it's hard to pitch around Reese when you have those other two hitting as well. So that's definitely helped us.
You got a
Awesome.
Peyton Henry's hitting like 373, which would be tops on most teams. She's seventh on your team in average. Just an overabundance of firepower. How can that be somewhat of a pressure reliever for everyone? Because they know that they don't have to go 4-4 every day for Texas to win, and that includes Reese.
That's true. I mean, we're keeping the pressure on the pitcher the whole game. You know, it's hard to, and we've been on the other side of the coin. Playing against Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, and a lot of these other really good teams. They have power throughout, and that's what we've been trying to do is get really good, not only offensive players but defensive players. I think that our defensive work in the outfield has been really, really good this year.
How about your pitching a little bit, Mike? You got this freshman phenom in Tegan Cavan who's struck out over 100 batters already, got an ERA of 2.00. Are you worried about her mindset, first time kind of in the NCAA playoff, getting any postseason nerves and jitters at all?
Well, it's something you don't know until you get them out there and turn the lights on and see what happens. But I mean, she's had to play some big games for us this year, being in some big situations, and some she hasn't done as well, and others she has. And I think she's learning. She's a student of the game and wants to learn how to get better each time she goes out there. And she's driven, to be hopefully have the USA across her chest one day. And she has the tools, but we really just need to keep putting her out there and see what happens. But that's a blessing of having a deep staff is that if it doesn't work out that day, we can make that change, quickly.
Yeah, I was going to say with your pitching depth, probably the most pitching depth you've had here, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly. Since my Oregon days when I had 3 number ones,
Right.
that was a luxury, and been trying to get that back ever since. It's really nice to, they don't know who you're going to put up on the lineup card.
I've seen Tegan a couple of times on LHN, and the thing that stood out was the movement, the variety of pitching. She's not out there to just overpower you like some pitchers are. And I know she came in as like number 5 prospect coming in. Did you expect her to be this good so soon, or has that been a pleasant surprise?
No, yes. I mean, she was one we couldn't wait to get into the program because we knew she's going to be pretty good. But again, you kind of hide things a little bit. You don't want to get too over optimistic about things until they actually get out there and play. There's a quantum jump from travel ball, high school ball to this level. It really is kind of like the major leagues. So you're taking somebody that hasn't had time to develop, they're still young, still haven't faced those pressures. Being away from home, schoolwork. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it that you can't really measure until you get into the season.
Can you talk about your field a little bit? You got a Northwestern team here that I think led the Big Ten in home runs and ERA, and you start obviously with Siena. This is their first regional appearance, correct?
Yeah, it is. It's they're MAC champions of the conference tournament, and they're here for a reason. They've scored some runs. I mean, obviously, we're favored in that one, but you just don't know. We got to come out and make sure we, they're going to have the first at bat. We got to make sure we shut them down, and then we score early to kind of take the game out of, the way they, put a dent in it, so to speak. And then, of course, the one St. Francis and Northwestern, that's a pretty good matchup right there. St. Francis has stolen a ton of bases, got really fast, they can hit. They had a pitcher, Vesco, that came out here a couple of years ago and faced us. And, she's got some pretty good movement on the ball. And, of course, Northwestern, just looking at them, Ashley Miller's got a tremendous changeup, and that can always be the equalizer that you kind of worry about. And then, of course, they, like you said, they can hit and then score runs. As well. They played in a power conference and played some good teams. So, you just go out there and just try to play your game and match it up as best you can.
I've joked over the last couple of years that Texas is the best athletic department in the country, and we're just waiting on the men to get the memo. And that didn't go over very well over there. With some named men's coaches, but I'm telling you, man, you guys have held on to that spot, that number 1 spot, 45-6 regular season. Beat the Sooners 2 out of 3. That was huge. Sooners got you back in the title game of the Big 12 tournament. Now, we're probably talking about the two best teams in America, and you have to prove it. But how possible is it that that loss to Oklahoma could be a learning tool for you guys that kind of allowed you to reset for this tournament?
Well, I certainly hope so. And again, like I said before, it's what we learn from these things. So don't make them losses in vain. You got to learn from it. There's a reason why we got beat, and we've got it just tells you got to get better. But I will say this though: there's a parity with amongst this field that's tremendous. Any one of those 16 seed teams are very dangerous, and then of course you go down from there, and there's some sleepers. But it's going to be an interesting tournament, and there's always upsets. You just want to make sure you're not one of them.
I see you're matched up with A&M and a possible
Yeah.
Super Bowl match. Super regional match. They don't do that by accident, do they?
Yeah, well, no comment, but yeah, it's amazing how these things work out.
We could comment, Mike. They do it on purpose. They do that on purpose. There's a reason the basketball team played Rick Barnes.
Yeah,
There's a reason for that. They do that. They do.
probably why Oregon's going to Oklahoma too, right?
Absolutely.
You know that.
Absolutely.
Anybody? Go ahead, Sid.
Oh, you go ahead, Doc.
Anybody that you look at? Most people looking at y'all in Oklahoma and Tennessee. Florida's kind of been on fire lately. You mentioned how any of the 16 can be dangerous, obviously, but is there anybody else that you would say keep an eye on them that they might sneak in here and do some damage on a national scale?
Well, you got to look out for Stanford. With that pitcher Najari Kennedy, she can really throw, and she proved that last year. And we haven't seen her this well. We saw her early on, but
right.
She's a kid that can just power it by you at any time, and if she gets hot and they score some runs, this one could be a sleeper there for sure.
Well, I got to ask you about this. The Longhorn Network is coming to an end, and Kirk and I are fans of the LHN. It's been a constant for a decade plus on campus. Now, softball doesn't always get the national spotlight, but you guys had your own network that gave you tremendous exposure nationally. When you arrived from Oregon, what was your first impression of the Longhorn Network, and what role, if any, did it play in helping in the exposure department as you built Texas into a national power?
Well, I can tell you what one of the other coaches, Jerry Glasgow from Louisiana said, he wants to play us because his team gets national exposure when they come play us because he has a lot of recruits from Texas. So that kind of just gives you an idea of how important it was to be able to be on TV every single time. And we're always telling recruits' parents that, you may not be able to travel here, but you're going to get the games on TV. But of course, what's happened since is ESPN Plus has really taken off, and the coverage is getting pretty good there too. So, I don't think they're going to miss a beat, so to speak, other than having your own network and being on all the time and replays and everything. But so everything's turned into more of an on-demand world. So, we got to keep up with the times there. But it certainly was really nice.
Did those kids enjoy the little featurettes they did? They'd come on campus and have your kids in studio. And ESPN Plus can't give them that. You had your own local vehicle there that really helped.
Yeah, the interest stories were tremendous. They're really good getting to know some of them. I keep on seeing the one Papelka did with her mother, going through cancer. And, those are some great interest stories that people don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And we're certainly going to miss that. And, it is what it is. Everything seems to come to an end sooner or later.
Yeah, last thing for me, Mike, is that, you're going into the SEC July 1, so it's just over a month or so away. All 13 SEC softball teams are in the NCAA tournament. And, then you had Texas and Oklahoma, which are pretty decent at the sport too. What do you foresee as moving forward? As how good can this conference get?
Well, I think it's going to be extremely tough conference. I don't know what the win-loss ratio is going to be, but I wouldn't be a surprise to see 6 losses on your record to be able to win the conference. It's going to be hard to sweep for sure. It's hard to win 3 as it is against
Right.
top 32 teams in the country. I think all of them are basically in the top 32, right?
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And then you add Oklahoma and Texas. So it's just it's going to get tough, but we're hoping it's going to lift the game and bring more eyeballs to the sport as well.
And what's your mindset? Do you get nervous, or you just, man, I just can't wait for it to start?
No, you always get a little bit of nerves because I have no control. I mean, I liked it when I played. Seemed like I had a little more control over what happened, you know. But this one here, it's a little different. But yeah, ultimately, yeah, you got to have confidence and be calm about what's happening and understand they're giving their best effort and you know, trying to be understanding and yet still fire them up, you know. And that's the hard part is I challenge them that all day. Here's how well you can play, and here's well you are playing. What's the difference? You know, it's not physical. So, you know, get your mindset right and go in with it. And that's the challenge for us this weekend is to have the right mindset. You know, do you want to kind of wait for things to happen, or we're going to go out and attack? And we've got to be aggressive. I mean, that's when we've done our best work.
Well, Mike, it's a pleasure, man. Good luck this weekend. Horns, Siena, 3 o'clock Friday. Get out to McCombsville for that NCAA regional. We will be there with bells on. I think I'm bringing some bells with me this weekend.
Are you bringing
We
bells?
look.
Okay.
I gotta do it, Kirk. I
Gotta make an entrance. Gotta make an
gotta
entrance.
make an entrance. When you hear the sleigh bells, it won't be Santa. It'll be Big Santa rolling up Comal. Man, it's a pleasure, Mike. Good luck this weekend, and thanks for joining us, sir.
Thanks, Cedric, Kirk. I appreciate you guys and hook 'em.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.